हाँ, फील्ड पे मैं एक घर में गया और रात के करीब सुबह 4 साढ़े 4 बजे के बीच वहाँ पे जो प्रोजेक्टाइल था वो वहाँ गिरा। तो एक आदमी वहाँ पर खाट पे सो रहा था।
So one wreckage from a drone fell on, I think, a backside of a house in a village.
जैसे हम पुंछ जा रहे थे एंड सो वी मेट सो मैनी पीपल एंड दे सेड कि इट्स नॉट सेफ टू गो देयर एट नाइट.
I went to one spot. It was just a farmland where randomly a drone dropped out of nowhere.
Shared the location with my sister. I was thought, okay, even if I die, at least she will know where to find me.
For people who were reporting from ground, I'm sure that was the challenge for them as well.
For me, I think it has to be this Qari Muhammad Iqbal who got hit with a shrapnel, and a lot of news organizations, they ran stories that he was a terrorist.
Almost every night we could see action, the anti-drone action, the red flares going up, all of that.
उसी दिन शाम को फिरोजपुर में भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा ड्रोन्स वगैरह साइट हुए थे and all of this.
We had to think of areas from where we could move quickly.
जिन भी लोगों से मैंने बात की कोई भी डरा हुआ नहीं था क्योंकि शायद उन्होंने 1971 का युद्ध देखा था.
You can now say that I've been under fire, right? I was on my job under fire, so that's a good box to check. The fighting has come to a stop. The nightly fireworks have come to a stop. Although officially Op Sindoor is not yet over. It's only on a pause as the two sides have negotiated and agreed on a ceasefire. So as that has happened, two sides are also talking of withdrawing their forward deployed troops. We have also withdrawn our forward deployed troops, and you see them all sitting here. So you see our forward deployed troops, all of whom you've seen their work over the last several days, and they also featured in a conversation that I did while they were in their various locations, many of them standing outdoors with their flak jackets and helmets. I also have two headquarter commanders sitting with me. So there is Nisheet Upadhyay, who's our editor operations, and Janki Dave, who's our news editor. News editor, as you know, as I describe it, is a bit like the center half position in a football or a hockey team, the pivot which backs both attack and defense. Nisheet, all the copy comes to him. He was in touch with all the reporters and trying to finish their stories, etc. Janki also heads our video section. All the rest, if you want, I can spend another minute introducing them. But why don't you just do it yourself and just tell everybody your name and where you were? Your experiences will come to here.
My name is Bismee and I'm a principal correspondent at ThePrint. I was stationed in Bhatinda and Firozpur district, which is the bordering district of Punjab.
मेरा नाम कृष्ण मुरारी है। मैं द प्रिंट में सीनियर कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंट हूँ और जोधपुर और जैसलमेर जो सीमावर्ती इलाके हैं राजस्थान के, वहाँ से मैं कवरेज कर रहा था इंडिया पाक एस्केलेशन के लिए।
Hi, I'm Manisha Mandal. I am a senior multimedia journalist with ThePrint. I was traveling throughout the border areas of Gujarat, starting from Kutch to Banaskantha.
Hi, I am Mayank Kumar, principal correspondent with ThePrint. I was stationed in Amritsar and taking a look at the border districts in Punjab, such as Gurdaspur, Pathankot, to keep a closer eye on what was happening in those districts.
Hi, my name is Suraj Singh Bisht. I'm a senior photojournalist. I was stationed at Jammu, Poonch and Surankote.
I'm Praveen Jain, national photo editor in ThePrint. I was in Srinagar and Uri area.
I'm Nutun Sharma. I'm principal correspondent with ThePrint. I was stationed at Bhuj, Gujarat.
I'm Sagrika Kissu. I'm a special correspondent with ThePrint and I was stationed in Poonch, Jammu.
My name is Sajid Ali. I started my journey from Poonch and I went all the way from Poonch to Shopian and then Srinagar and then to Uri, line of control.
I'm Sharan Poovanna. I was stationed in Jammu and I also traveled to Aknoor, Nagrota, Udhampur and those places. Those are the places that I was looking at.
So if I may just sum it up for all of you, these are all the border states where we had strength, and for us the strength of 2 is a big strength. In Jammu and Kashmir we had more than 2. In fact we had 4 people We had 4 people and 5 people, in fact, with Sharan, you as well. So 5 people. Jammu and Kashmir saw the most action, most intense action, and at least 2 of you actually spent time, and Praveen also to some extent spent time under intense shelling. And we'll talk about those experiences. Gujarat had 2, that is Nutan and Manisha. Punjab had 2, Mayank and Bismee, who, by the way, cover crime for us usually. So we didn't deliberately choose to send them to Punjab. Although I think, Mayank, while you were there, you were winding up this huge tragedy took place, right? Only in Rajasthan we had 1 reporter, that was Krishan Murari. So having said that, I will also now introduce you in somewhat more detail to the 2 leaders, newsroom leaders, who backstop the process. So Nisheet, will you talk for a couple of minutes, and then Janki?
I mean, it was a very significant story as we were starting out and we were figuring out which all areas to touch as we covered this story that, as you described, was a once in a generation story. We had to think of areas from where we could move quickly, and as large an area as we could cover from these points. For instance, we decided that Nutan and Manisha would first go to Rajkot, and then they would decide whether they want to from there go to the coastal areas or move further down south, and if they at any point they had to move into any other states, how would that work out? At the same time, we also I mean, our teams traveled by car, by road, basically, because at that point all the airports in these forward areas were shut. What would the logistics be like if they're to basically move from those regions? How, with what speed they could move, what all areas they could go to if they had to. We figured all of that out and we deployed these people. I mean, that is the logistics part of it, but more importantly, we knew that this was a very sensitive story and a story with far-reaching consequences, right? I mean, the stakes were very high. On any other day, if TV has been reporting something and if 5 channels have it, you tend to, I mean, your first reaction is, okay, fine, looks like it's legitimate, and then you follow the story if TV has broken it. In such circumstances, you couldn't go by anything at all. TV reports, social media experts, even for that matter, frontline workers, even the police at many points when they were not sure of what was happening and the information that they were relaying. In some instances, in fact, they were checking with our reporters who were on the ground as to what was happening. So the understanding, of course, among all of us was that the information is very sensitive. We will not be relaying anything to our viewers and our readers that we had not verified and then verified again. We had decided on double, triple sourcing, which we anyway do in the due course of our stories and our videos. And we decided that at the end of it all, we had to put out very responsible and very, very responsible and very thought through journalism that our viewers and readers could appreciate.
Janki, the challenge of dealing with this Vanar Sena.
So I think apart from the challenges in dealing with people, the challenges were one, figuring out and thinking what lies ahead, what could be the next possible steps, right? And that's how we kind of moved our people, moved our teams. So thinking about all of those permutation combinations, and what if this happens, then what? I think the answer to those questions, that was a learning process in the newsroom for all of us included. And as far as the other big challenge, as Nisheet rightly pointed out, was that how do you separate misinformation from news while ensuring that the news is not delayed? I think that's a real big challenge in today's world. And for people who were reporting from ground, I'm sure that was the challenge for them as well. Maybe a bigger challenge, who were actually feeding us into the newsroom, the news, to get verified sources, to get verified information while being in a challenging atmosphere. So I would say the more challenging aspect of the entire coverage would be these two, rather than dealing with them.
Yeah, and disinformation now was not coming from the usual rumor mill or social media. It was coming from mainstream TV channels. There was one night when mainstream TV channels almost unanimously, one odd honorable exception, was saying that Karachi has been written off by Indian Navy when Indian Navy did not fire a shot. Somebody said Pakistani pilot has been taken prisoner. In this time and age, you don't take a pilot prisoner and keep it a secret. Plus, there are legal implications. But the pressure at that point must have been so great that the editorial challenge of how much discretion to employ at the risk of losing a story, at the risk of losing what might actually be a story, because I found in my experience that when there is an information blackout or when there is an information fog, then every rumor becomes true and the worst rumors become the truest. So I have to say that that is something we can say with pride, and that's also something that we say to those who support us, our subscribers, our advertisers, our sponsors, the members on our YouTube channel, that we owe it to you to not make mistakes like that, even if we are overly cautious sometimes. And in this case, caution paid, because no fact checker, no fact news checker ever checked out in anything as the print having got wrong. So that is something that we take pride in, and all of these people, the reporters on the ground, I call them Vanarasena, obviously, affectionately. Not that they are much better than that. And and the editors who were dealing with them, Janki and Nisheet, they deserve the credit for that. Now that we've done all this preamble, each one of you, we started from this side, now we start from this side, and then we'll go one and one like this, instead of keeping the camera on each side. Each one of you has 90 seconds telling us just one interesting story, experience, something that made you love your job, that if I wasn't a reporter, I won't be going through this, but 90 seconds. So go ahead.
I was covered Kargil and lots of rights area. First time I'm going to appreciate the print. He provide us a bulletproof jacket or that helmet. That also helping us to morale high करने के लिए ये बहुत ज़रूरी था. नंबर सेकंड, मैंने बहुत सारे राइट्स इलाके में गया हूँ, लेकिन इस बार मैंने फर्स्ट टाइम मैं सच बतला रहा हूँ कि इज़ लाइक ए कंट्रोल रूम. निशीत वॉज हेल्पिंग अस, इज़ अ कंट्रोल रूम. डे एंड नाइट ही वॉज अवेलेबल. ऑफ कोर्स जानकी वॉज ऑल्सो अवेलेबल, एंड ग्रुप से हमको बहुत हेल्प मिल रही थी और एक दूसरे के टच में थे ग्रुप के अंदर. ये बात सच है कि ग्रुप जो है हमारा मोरल हाई कर रहा था. पता भी लग रहा था इन्फॉर्मेशन के बारे में कि पुछ में कुछ हो गया है. मेरा ग्रुप जो है वो हमारे लिए काफ़ी इन्फॉर्मेशन का काम कर रहा था. तो मैंने जैसे आपको बतलाया कि ये टीम वर्क था. तो 45 ईयर ऑन माई जर्नलिज्म मैंने पहली दफ़ा देखा है प्रिंट में इतना कोऑर्डिनेशन होता हुए. That's all I want to know.
And we made a WhatsApp group of all of you.
WhatsApp का जो ग्रुप बनाया हुआ था हमने.
What was it called? Border report.
Yes. So that was also helping. I think everybody is agreed with me. And the bulletproof jacket हमको काफ़ी support दे रही थी कि if something happen and तो bulletproof jacket हमारे पास है.
Fortunately, no such eventuality arrived. Sajid, you were under fire the first night, and that was even before the vests and helmet could reach you.
Yes. So first you asked us what was the most interesting or most fascinating part of our lives which made us love our job, love journalism. For me, I think it has to be this Qari Muhammad Iqbal, who got hit with a shrapnel, and a lot of news organizations, they ran stories that he was a terrorist. And before I got to know...
He was the Maulvi in that mosque.
Yes, he was a teacher, a Maulvi in the mosque. It's a seminary actually, not a mosque, seminary. Seminary, yeah. I didn't know about it. I had already interviewed...
In Poonch on our side.
Yes, I had already interviewed the cook there. I had already interviewed some people there, but I didn't know the angle. It was Nisheet who told me that, do you know about it? And I said, yeah, I know, and I have interviews and all. So, and by the time his name was being torn apart, that he was a terrorist, he was being funded by Pakistan, etc., etc., his family they put up a video that he's not a terrorist and all. And Nisheet asked me to just file the story. So the moment I filed the story, it was published quite quickly, and then I called. Then I called the seminary head. I said, "We have published the story and all." He was very thankful. He said that right after the story got published, everybody reached out to me, even the news organizations who had ran this slanderous campaigns against him, and they were apologizing. And the family could feel safe. The other teachers could feel safe about Kari Iqbal of the seminary. Yeah. And the experience during the bombs, the shelling in Poonch on the night of 8th, I think I will remember this for the rest of my life. It made me realize that you have to be extremely careful while you're reporting, and if you follow the rule during reporting, if you listen to your comrades there, or if you listen to police or army, whatever they tell you, then I think you're safe. It's not that you go out of, you become a hero and all, try to prove anything extra. I think that might put you in trouble. But if you follow rules, if you listen to the experienced people there, to my experience, you are safe. So,
Sagrika, how bad was the shelling? And how often did you think that this one's coming direct at me?
Oh, too many times.
इसके ऊपर मेरा
And
नाम लिखा हुआ है.
first of all, I would like to thank Nisheet and Suraj because the first time I witnessed it, it was the least expected, the place where we were, because we spoke to the locals. They said, इस जगह पे तो नहीं होता है.
Surankote.
No, not Surankote.
Surankote.
Like, oh, yeah, on our way to Surankote, but it was. And my first call was to Nisheet, and I was on the edge of breaking, and I was saying, and I said that they said that it won't shell here, and it's shelling. What should I do? And he was there to calm me down. So thank you so much. And Suraj was there for me. I want to say this thing that people were covering Poonch. Poonch is divided in 3 blocks: Poonch block, Surankote, and Mainder. Surankote, the shelling in Surankote was only reported by the print. No, because because Poonch block was the focus of attention. Everyone was talking about it. And the second thing you said, that how many times it was our adjoining hotel that got hit by the shell. Then after that, Suraj and I were looking at each other, and we're like, okay, we don't know. And fine, I shared the location with my sister. I was thought, okay, even if I, die, at least she will know where to find me. So yeah. But what also another point I want to make, what I learned, I saw vulnerability up close, but I also saw resilience up close. The resilient people of Jammu and Kashmir, I saw them up close, and how they were navigating this situation with utmost courage.
Krishnan?
मैं जब जैसलमेर जा रहा था तो रास्ते में जब यहाँ से दिल्ली से निकला तो ट्रेन खुल गई थी और मैं वहाँ पहुँचा था। तो मूविंग ट्रेन में ही मैंने अपना जो सामान था वो फेंका और चढ़ा। वो सबसे एडवेंचरस जर्नी का सफ़र जो था, स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट वही एक एडवेंचर शुरू हो गया। लेकिन फिर एक रहता है कि आप इतने कन्फ्लिक्ट एरिया में जा रहे हैं, आपके फैमिली में भी लोग एक तरह से डरे हुए हैं कि क्या होगा नहीं होगा। लेकिन उस समय मैं एक किस्सा सुनाना चाहता हूँ कि अजीत डोभाल का मैंने काफ़ी पहले एक इंटरव्यू देखा था। उसमें उन्होंने कहा था कि जो डर होता है वो सबको लगता है, लेकिन एक डर होता है कि जो आपको घटना से पहले लगता है, एक उस दौरान लगता है, और तीसरा होता है कि जब आप वापस आ जाते हो तब आप सोचते हो कि उस समय कुछ भी हो सकता था। तो अजीत डोभाल कहते हैं कि मैं तीसरे कैटेगरी का आदमी हूँ कि जब सब कुछ ख़त्म हो जाता है, जब वापस आता हूँ तब सोचता हूँ कि वहाँ कुछ भी हो सकता था, लेकिन उस दौरान अपना काम करता हूँ कि जो भी सिचुएशन आता है उस समय अपना पूरा एफर्ट डाल के जो भी। और मेरा एफर्ट इसमें ये था कि हमें स्टोरीज़ करनी थी, हमें जो कहानियाँ जो वहाँ हो रहा था ग्राउंड पे वो हमें दुनिया के सामने बतलानी थी। लेकिन अब मैं जब सोचता हूँ तो मैं भी समझता हूँ कि मैं थर्ड कैटेगरी में हूँ कि कुछ भी हो सकता था, क्योंकि 54 साल के बाद करीब जैसलमेर पे इस तरीके का हमला हुआ और एक बहुत बड़ा ये वक्फा होता है कि करीब आधी सदी जो है उसके बाद लोगों को अनुभव हो रहा है कि ड्रोन हमले हो रहे हैं। ये टोटली नया वॉरफेयर
वहाँ
था।
का अपना फील्ड का एक्सपीरियंस तो बताइए, वहाँ पे आपको आंखों देखा कुछ?
हाँ, फील्ड पे मैं एक घर में गया और रात के करीब सुबह 4 साढ़े 4 बजे के बीच वहाँ पे एक जो प्रोजेक्टाइल था वो वहाँ गिरा। तो एक आदमी वहाँ पर खाट पे सो रहा था। उन्होंने बताया कि मेरे जस्ट 10 मीटर की दूरी पे एक हिस्सा उसका गिरा और घर से 50-60 मीटर दूर पे एक और उसका हिस्सा गिरा और वहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा गड्ढा हो गया। उन्होंने कहा कि अगर थोड़ा-सा भी इधर-उधर होता तो हमारी जान जा सकती थी। लेकिन उनके जो घर थे, घर पे भी उनको काफ़ी नुकसान हुआ। उनके घर पे वो राख पूरी दिख रही थी कि किस तरीके का ये ज़ोरदार हमला वहाँ पे हुआ होगा।
हाँ नूतन, अब आप बताइए व्हाट हैपेंड।
तो हम यहाँ से जब जैसे ही मैं अपनी एक स्टोरी पे काम कर रही थी जब रमा का मैसेज आया कि लीव फॉर राजकोट। तो उस रात हम पूरी रात सो नहीं पाए। अर्ली मॉर्निंग हमने फ्लाइट ली अहमदाबाद तक क्योंकि वहाँ का जो एयरबेस था वो बंद था। तो राजकोट गए, अहमदाबाद से 4 घंटे ड्राइव की, उस रात नहीं सोए। फिर अगले दिन राजकोट में थोड़ा बहुत देखा कि जो स्टोरीज हैं वो मेन भुज में है। तो मैं भुज के लिए निकल गई वहाँ पर और जैसे ही मैं पहुँच रही थी रास्ते में ही ब्लैकआउट हो गया था। मैंने होटल बुक किया, वहाँ पे मुझे बता दिया गया कि यहाँ पर कोई इलेक्ट्रिसिटी नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है। तो मैं बुलेट प्रूफ जैकेट पहनकर और हेलमेट पहनकर सीधे मैंने ग्राउंड हिट कर दिया था रात को 10 बजे और मैंने देखा कि ऐसा लग रहा था कि मैं एक घोस्ट टाउन में आ चुकी हूँ, जो हम हॉलीवुड मूवीज़ देखते हैं कि बाहर कोई नहीं है, दरवाजे बंद हैं। और उस रात चाँद जो है, चाँद की रोशनी ही पड़ रही थी घर में, जो भी दिखाई दे रहा था वो सिर्फ चाँद की रोशनी से दिखाई दे रहा था। और फिर थोड़ी वो रिपोर्टिंग करके मैं होटल में गई, लेकिन ग्रुप्स में लगातार मैसेज आ रहे थे, सोर्सेज मैसेज कर रहे थे और अचानक मैसेज आया कि गुजरात के भुज में कुछ ड्रोन्स देखे गए हैं। तो मुझे ये एडमिट करने में बिल्कुल भी शर्मिंदगी नहीं है कि मुझे बहुत डर लग रहा था। मैं खिड़की खोल के बार-बार देख रही थी कि कहीं ड्रोन्स तो नहीं आ रहे हैं यहाँ पर। फिर हम पूरी रात सोए नहीं, सुबह मुझे मैसेज आया कि 8:30 बजे आदिपुर के इलाके में एक ड्रोन गिरा है। गुजरात के अनुभव से मैं ये बताना चाहूँगी कि वहाँ पर जिन भी लोगों से मैंने बात की, कोई भी डरा हुआ नहीं था क्योंकि शायद उन्होंने 1971 का युद्ध देखा था, तो उन्हें ये वाला युद्ध जैसा नहीं लग रहा था। जिस व्यक्ति ने ड्रोन देखा गिरते हुए, वो सुबह चाय पी रहा था और फिर जब उसने ड्रोन गिरते हुए देखा तो वो वहाँ पहुँच गया लोकेशन पे उसे देखने के लिए कि ये क्या है। और भी हमने बहुत सारे लोगों से ग्राउंड पे बात की तो उन्होंने यही बताया कि 1971 में तो हमारे सर के ऊपर से बम जाते थे, सर के ऊपर से बम गिरते थे। यहाँ पे तो बस इन्होंने 3-4 ड्रोन गिराए हैं और हम पूरी तरीके से रेडी हैं, कुछ भी होगा
कितने
चले जाएंगे।
कंजूस है पाकिस्तानी अब, है ना। लेकिन आप भुज में थी
जी सर।
एंड पाकिस्तान ने क्लेम किया कि उन्होंने भुज में बहुत बॉम्बिंग करी। आपने कोई बॉम्बिंग सुनी वहाँ पे? आपका अपने
नहीं सर, कोई बॉम्बिंग नहीं थी। 2-4 ड्रोन गिराए थे,
2-4
वो भी
ड्रोन गिराए।
गुजरातियों के लिए मुझे लगता है खिलौने ही थे। उन्होंने खिलौनों की तरह ट्रीट किया कि ड्रोन क्या ही
तो
होते
ये
हैं।
कहना कि उन एयरबेस के ऊपर हमने बहुत बॉम्बिंग करी और वहाँ पे हमने नेस्त नाबूद कर दिया।
नहीं, कुछ
आपने
भी नहीं था, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था।
कुछ नहीं ऐसा देखा
नहीं
आपने?
सर, कुछ नहीं था।
Mayank, if I come to you, and also you were in Amritsar and you were in Pathankot, right? You were in really critical areas also by way, because this was really an air war, 72 hours of air war. And both Amritsar and Pathankot, and then beyond that, Adampur, were the big focus of the Pakistan Air Force and the Pakistani missile and drone batteries.
Right.
So, first, tell us about your standout experience and give me a sense also of what did you figure by way of what might have struck something there.
So, as you rightly pointed out, sir, so it was a focus point for Pakistan since in very closely located cities, Indian defense establishment has a lot of
air bases,
a lot of
radar,
stake,
missiles,
a lot
yes.
of stakes. Say Pathankot Air Base, and it was attacked in 2016. So, like. The temperature among the officials and their anxiety were very high. So they were absolutely tight-lipped about their security and what has happened. So even if we were double-checking with our sources who generally talk, in other cases, before this incident and these 3-4 days, they were quite open about what was happening in Punjab. So they were not quite vocal as to how many drones have been sighted and how many blast sounds they have heard, because nobody was sure that, was it, as Sharan sir was saying, that nobody was sure that if it was a missile attack or it's a drone attack or is some loitering munition, or nobody was sure of the nature of the attack. They were just hearing some sorts. So there was some anti-drone gun as well that was fired. So what experience that has struck with me is the difference that I, started my journey with, what the feeling I had, the anxiety that I had, my family had, that as you also said, that it's a very sensitive place, a lot of activities happen in Amritsar and those districts, and actual reality on the ground. So the fact that people of Punjab, and especially in Amritsar and Gurdaspur rural areas, that drones were coming in, say, 50s, 60s each night, And every morning they were going as usual, that nothing has happened.
And you saw no destruction on the ground anywhere?
No destruction. There was only one exception in one of the village. I think, if I'm taking the name correctly, that is Vadala, Pithewad, where I went. So one wreckage from a drone fell on, I think, a backside of a house in a village. So when I started my journey from Amritsar city, so I was expecting, I'm from Bihar, so I'll take that example. If anything or any riot situation happens and any untoward situation happens, people are generally scared. They're very anxious of talking to media. कि sir हमारे साथ ये हो गया. They are cornered in a room talking to media कि 12 बजे हुआ, 4 बजे हुआ. When I reached the village, it was absolutely you could not find, if not for the patrolling vehicles of Punjab police, you won't find that a wreckage of a drone is there. It was so surprising. And
you mean people were so blasé?
Yeah, their point was that we have seen it all in the past as well, but we are not concerned. And their point is also that our threat, that people from Delhi perceive the threat in Punjab and in Amritsar and in Gurdaspur, is different from threat that we perceive in Punjab's villages. So that is the experience that struck with me, that what we perceive that they are feeling threatened and what they perceive as they are being threatened are completely different.
Yeah. And did you see any explosion or any big damage or fire, say, from the direction of the air bases, either in Amritsar or in Pathankot?
I did not see it, but I heard gunshots.
Gunshots?
Yeah, I heard gunshots, and I checked with at least 3 sources who confirmed that it was anti-drone guns fired by the security officials. And that was in heart of Amritsar city, towards Ajnala, where there is camp.
Those were guns fired by our own people.
Yeah, against the loitering munitions which were coming there.
But you didn't hear about any missile falling anywhere?
No.
Any big explosion anywhere?
No significant damage, even comparable standard to what Sajid and Sagrika saw in Poonch, fortunately.
And that was only artillery damage.
Right.
Whether it's a missile or it's a long distance weapon, that damage is much more. So there was no evidence of any of that.
No, nothing of that sort.
Sharan, you were in Jammu and also watching Akhnur, etc. That usually, if things go really bad between India and Pakistan, that's where Pakistan starts every war in the western sector.
The chicken's neck or the dagger, what they call it.
I banned the use of the expression chicken's neck for anything, because there are 2 sides to a chicken's neck. Yes.
So where I was, the hotel that we were at had a great view. On the right extreme was Jammu city, right in front was Sidra, at a distance Udhampur, to the left of that was Nagrota, and to the far extreme left was the Vaishno Devi. So almost every night we could see, action, the anti-drone action, the red flares going up, all of that. And the people there, I mean, it's just called firing. No one knows whether it was shelling or firing, and no one knows the difference. It's called firing. Especially villagers say firing. But yeah, in Jammu, loud explosions were heard. Every morning we were either woken up by some sort of sound at a distance, which we would try and, use some sort of experience. Ki kal bhi we heard this at this time. And over Jammu, also at 8 p.m., the hotel guys, you would come, knock on your door and say, lights off, lights off. And exactly 5 minutes after, almost like clockwork, we would see, flares on top. So the anti-drone activity. But in Jammu, I think after a very, very long time, now again, we don't know whether that was a drone, we don't know if it was a missile, but the one that destroyed a lot of property in this Rehari colony.
In one street.
In one street, a very, densely populated street. Mohalla. It's very fortunate that no one was very badly hurt or no one lost their lives, but that could have been very, very devastating, that particular one, because it's so,
These look like randomly fired loitering munitions.
Correct, yeah. It didn't look like it was, particularly targeted, but then that they fell in residential and densely populated areas is one, that too in Jammu city. So most of these people, say by the end of the day, they were told, go back inside your houses and, there's a blackout. But these people were inside their houses when this happened. So then there was that fear that added to it, saying, ab kahan jaye? I mean, and some of them had, trauma that was dating back to many years ago, saying, we were, we had to leave in the 90s, of course, many of them pundits saying, we had to leave from there, we've come here, now they're asking us to evacuate from there. And of course, there were others saying that their children are calling us back from, Jammu and other places now. And they're like, if we leave now, we may never come back.
So it's some experience for you coming from genteel Bangalore, Bengaluru.
Correct, yes. And also when I went to the place, the Akhnur, that particular place that you said, I don't like it being called Chicken's Neck or what they call Dagger, I was 100 meters from that place in a place called Pragwal. Now there, after the ceasefire, this is by the way, all of those people were told, go back to your houses. And all of them did go back to their houses. These are people not in campsites, but these are people who were staying a little away from their villages. They went back, and exactly 3 hours later, bombs have completely destroyed their homes. So I visited at least 5 homes. Some of them, one went right through a kitchen, and thankfully no one was there, but all 5 buffaloes, which was their main source of income, all 5 died. And then there are elders in that village who say that they've seen shelling. They say that 65 and they're 70 plus. So they've seen all of this. So they say that whenever shelling happened, they knew the difference. There used to be a hole in the ceiling, but now the entire house is exploded. And it's very, very fortunate that, many of these people were somehow saved or escaped with minor injuries.
So did you hear something from Udhampur, Nagrota?
Yes. Yes. So, in fact, the one night where there was so much misinformation going on that there's an active gunfight going on at Nagrota. Nagrota is, in my view,
The rumor was Fadain attack.
yes. So we were looking at Nagrota. We can hear sounds, we can see some action on top, but we weren't sure. So we're trying to reach out to the army to find out what's happening. But the bigger problem was what was going on in social media. So the entire hotel staff, they've turned off everything, and most of them, I don't know what they've received, but they went on to say that 5 people they've been beheaded. So there was a lot of beheading stories going on.
Yes.
So
It was an army veteran brigadier who unfortunately put out a tweet, which he later deleted, saying 3 have already been beheaded. So I was very inclined to reply to him saying, no, that's not true. But then I said, he's a respectable old senior officer and a decorated officer. Let him. I'd rather rely on your stories to set the record straight. And our stories came out in quick time, saying there was no Fadain attack. And there was some firing. I think Ananya Bhardwaj did that story from Delhi.
So when that was happening, I can see it. I'm on the call. I'm on a call with the army guys who are not confirming. So there was no way that they were confirming that this is happening or not. But the larger problem that I was facing was with my driver and the hotel staff and others who were constantly being fed this on social media, and they went on. I mean, it just, that circle wouldn't stop. So then I stepped in to say, no, there is no beheading done. So calm down. And they were sharing. At one point I had to calm them down, so the news was not just what was published for us, but also was using that credible information that we had to calm a few people down, because that cycle was not going to stop there.
Manisha, you were on Bhuj too. And Bhuj is also a place that the Pakistanis say they really targeted and they blew it up.
Yeah. They said that, but we didn't find anything like that. We found few drone attacks here and there. I went to one spot. It was just a farmland where randomly a drone dropped out of nowhere. So there were like few spots here and there, but there was no damage per se there. But from my experience, like how everybody is sharing their own experience, like because I'm a visual journalist, I see everything visually. When the army announced that you have restrictions to take these photos, you can't click soldiers or troops or any movement. I would like to add one point how Nutan and other people are sharing that people are numb in these border areas because they have seen war, but they are now saying that these are not anymore traditional wars. The term they have used, they all are saying that this is something, a technological warfare they are calling it. Like that's what I have found in my experience.
Did you overhear a lot of flying activity from Bhuj?
Not really, sir. It all happened, but in like at night in the evening. Right. Yeah.
सूरज, आप बताइए अपनी कहानी.
सर एज ए विजुअल जर्नलिस्ट आई जस्ट वांट टू से कि हम हर चीज़ विजुअली कैप्चर करना चाहते हैं एंड जैसे हम पुंछ जा रहे थे एंड सो वी मेट सो मैनी पीपल एंड दे सेड कि इट्स नॉट सेफ टू गो देयर एट नाइट बट जैसे तैसे सागरिका से कोऑर्डिनेट करके मैंने कहा चलते हैं एंड रास्ते में ही शेलिंग गिरी हमारी गाड़ी के पास में ही एंड पहले तो ड्राइवर भी पैनिक हुआ एंड देन सी इज़ ऑल्सो पैनिकिंग। होटल में भी रात को जैसे कि हमने डिसाइड किया था कि नेक्स्ट मॉर्निंग हम जाएंगे पुंछ एंड सारा शूट करके आएंगे, ग्राउंड रिपोर्ट सारा कवर कर लेंगे डे में क्योंकि डे में अटैक्स नहीं होते हैं। सो रात को ही हमारे होटल के सामने जब अटैक होता है एंड होटल्स ओनर सब कुछ आते हैं, लाइट्स ऑफ कर देते हैं, वो सारी लाइट्स ऑफ कर देते हैं जो कि थोड़ा स्कैरी होता है एंड देन उसके बाद वो हमें एक बेसमेंट में लेके जाते हैं, कहते हैं दिस इज़ डर्टी बट हमारे पास यही है बेसमेंट जो कि सेफ आपको रख सकता है रात के लिए। एंड देन सारे हम 20-25 लोग एक के ऊपर बैठे हुए हैं रात में, सारे एक दूसरे से बातें कर रहे हैं रात भर, डरे हुए हैं बच्चे, जैसे तैसे उनको सुलाया एंड सुबह मॉर्निंग में जैसे ही हुआ फिर क्योंकि रात को हम बाहर जा नहीं सकते थे देन फिर मॉर्निंग में हम विजुअल्स लेने के लिए गए क्योंकि विजुअल्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अस।
तो करीब कितनी कितनी देर के बाद में शेल आ रहा था?
सर होटल में तो जब हम होटल रात को रुके थे तो वहाँ पे 10-12 सेल विद इन 10 मिनट्स तो हो गए थे।
अच्छा।
हाँ जी, एक ही घर पे ड्रोन अटैक भी हुआ था एंड वहाँ पे दो एक साथ घर में 2 गिरे थे एंड वहाँ पे एक बच्ची इंजर्ड हुई थी जो कि 12 इयर्स की थी एंड देन थोड़ी इंजर्ड थी बट वो बच गई एंड सारे लोग पीपल आर लिविंग सुरनकोट, दे आर सेइंग कि मतलब सबसे सेफेस्ट एरिया यही था, यहीं सब लोग आ रहे हैं रहने के लिए। एंड सबसे फनीस्ट थिंग इज़ कि हम जब मॉर्निंग में हम जब होटल छोड़ के जा रहे थे सो हमारे होटल के ओनर एंड सारे स्टाफ सब गायब था होटल में कोई था ही नहीं। हमने सोचा कि नेक्स्ट डे रहेंगे लेकिन होटल में कोई नहीं था, वो खोल के चले गए थे।
One small anecdote which also was like that was the moment when my anxiety got silenced and the fragility of life sort of dawned upon me. There was a 11-year-old kid and he was talking to his brother like a tape recorder stuck on loop. Bhaiya, ye bomb fatega, are we going to die today? Ye bomb fatega. And there was an international reporter with me. He asked me that do you have the BP kit? I said yes, it's in the car. He said okay, I'm getting my helmet, do you want it? I said no. He came
BP
down,
kit means bulletproof.
bulletproof kit. So he said okay, I'm getting my helmet. Okay, I said okay, fine. What we did and what we decided that we should give this helmet to this boy because he was stuck on loop. भैया बॉम्ब फटेगा, मुझे डर लग रहा है. And when he gave that, he swiftly put it on, and then after that he calmed within 5 minutes and he slept with that helmet on. When he woke up in the morning, he kissed that helmet and that helmet was his god for the night. He felt that this helmet has saved me.
That's like Virat Kohli kissing his helmet after a century, huh?
Yeah. So that was something that stayed with me and I was like okay.
So पहले जब मुझे बोला ग्रुप पे अनन्या when she wrote the message कि बिस्मी you live for भटिंडा, मयंक you live for अमृतसर, मैं सोचने लगी मुझे भटिंडा क्यों, वहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, because I was expecting
From Brahmaputra to Bhatinda.
हाँ, and I also wanted to be like
You come from Assam, huh?
yes, I wanted to be in a high power कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जोन। मतलब मैंने 5-6 राइट्स कवर किया, कोविड कवर किया, क्यों नहीं। अनन्या मुझे साइड में लेके गई, शी इज लाइक होगा तुम जाओ ठीक है। तो बिकॉज आई थिंक आई डिड दैट इन दैट रूम, न्यूज रूम ऑल्सो व्हेन वी वर इन द मीटिंग, आई वाज लाइक व्हाई, आई वाज लाइक कि एमी मुझे तड़काने के लिए भेज दिया गया है। तो मैं जब जा रही थी यहाँ से बुलेट प्रूफ किट उठा के, वी लेफ्ट एट लाइक 11:30, तो वी हैव रीच्ड भटिंडा अराउंड लाइक 6:30। एक पेट्रोल पंप पे रुके हम सुबह के 5 बजे। मेरा ड्राइवर बहुत अच्छा पंजाबी बोलता है और वो पेट्रोल पंप वाला है, तो वो उससे बात कर रहा है, बीच में ही स्टार्ट स्क्रीमिंग बम्बिया गिरिया, ठीक है। एंड आई एम लुकिंग इधर उधर, तो मैंने उनको बोला कहाँ बम्बिया गिरिया, ही इज लाइक नहीं बम्बिया गिरिया। तो आई वाज लाइक ठीक है, सुबह जाके आई चेक द स्पॉट आउट एंड ऑल ऑफ दिस थिंग्स। सो एक्चुअली ही वाज राइट, एटलीस्ट 4 spots were hit that day in Bhatinda. तो वहाँ पे
This is outside in the open.
आउटसाइड इन दी ओपन, मतलब घर के पास है सर, 70 मीटर्स 100 मीटर्स। एक घर में स्लाइड डैमेज था, तो बच्चे अंदर सो रहे थे, एसी का वेंट गिर गया था, नोबडी वाज इंजर्ड। दिस वाज तुंग वाली विलेज। एक और बीर तालाब गांव में भी गिरा है, बट वहाँ पे पंजाब के पीपल, पंजाबीज आर वेरी रेजिलियंट, दे आर वेरी पेट्रियोटिक, दे डोंट केयर, दे आर लाइक कि अरे क्या हो गया, इधर घर पे भी मारेंगे तो जो जवान है घर का वो उठ के लड़ेगा उनके साथ. देयर मेंटालिटी वाज आल्सो लाइक दैट. देयर वाज वन पर्सन आई हैड गॉन, इज वेरी स्वीट, गुरजन सिंह ऑफ तुंगवाली विलेज. जब मैं उनके घर पे थी, मैं बातचीत कर रही थी तो उनके घर के औरतों से एंड ऑल, तो दे वर आल्सो वेरी एडमेंट ऑन द फैक्ट दैट आप आए हो दिल्ली से अभी ट्रैवल करके, यू हैव टू हैव रोटी विद अस, यू कांट लिव विदाउट दैट. घर पे मतलब सर शीशे वगैरह सब टूट गए थे उनके. सो द amid all of this chaos, the warmth that I felt from Punjabis was the antonym that kept me going. Then उसके बाद I wanted to go to फिरोजपुर, तो मैंने मीटिंग में बोला भी था कि मुझे फिरोजपुर भेजो, but I was like no, stay put in Bhatinda because more things will happen. उसी दिन शाम को फिरोजपुर में भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा ड्रोन्स वगैरह साइट हुए थे and all of this. So next day morning एक न्यूज़ आया था कि एक मिलिट्री बेस पे ड्रोन अटैक हुआ है and all of this. So I first went there. देन आई वेंट टू फिरोजपुर. तो व्हेन आई रीच्ड फिरोजपुर, तब जब मैंने गांव वालों से बातचीत करने की कोशिश की एंड ऑल ऑफ दोस थिंग्स वर हैपनिंग, सो आई हैड गॉन टू दिस खाइमी के विलेज. वहाँ पे एक फैमिली के ऊपर ड्रोन गिर गया था, उनकी चूल्हा सिलेंडर भी ब्लास्ट हो गया था एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. आई मेट दैट फैमिली. सो that's when it starts hitting you. This is the only civilian casualty outside of Jammu and Kashmir. People were shocked कि भटिंडा तक आ रहा है drones. फिरोजपुर, and this was not sir border फिरोजपुर, this was थोड़ा सिटी टाइप ही. जो बॉर्डरिंग गांव के लोग हैं फिरोजपुर के, हुसैनी वाला के जो लोग होते हैं सर, वो वहां पे आते हैं छुपने के लिए.
Now, Hussainiwala is other side of the river.
Yes,
right? It's
yes,
an enclave.
yes, yes. सतलुज के साइड में है. वहां पे सर 3 साइड से, एक साइड से सतलुज बहता है. वहां पे एक्चुअली इट्स अ वेरी फ्लड प्रोन एरिया आल्सो.
हाँ, 3 साइड से पाकिस्तान है, so it's we have that enclave across the river, and that enclave in the negotiations over the border, India insisted on, because that's where the memorial for Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev is located. They were cremated there.
राइट. सो हुसैनी वाला में भी ऑल्सो आई फाउंड आउट. सो आई उस दिन शाम तक, सैटरडे शाम तक, वी इंडियन पाकिस्तान रीच द बायलैटरल अंडरस्टैंडिंग. सो आई वाज आल्सो लाइक नो देयर इज मोर टू रिपोर्ट बिफोर आई लीव. सो आई हैड विजिटेड फिरोजपुर के सर फजलका एंड फिरोजपुर के बीच वाले गांव भी मैं गई थी, एंड देन दिस हुसैनी वाला एरिया आल्सो. सो हुसैनी वालों में वाला एरिया में सर 14 गांव पड़ते हैं. And these people have seen the 1971 war when Indian troops had blown up that Hussainiwala bridge so that Pakistani troops cannot enter. Baki, in contrast to other villages, what I found in other, when I say other villages, I mean Habibwala, Jalalwala and all of these villages on the other side, sir. तो वहाँ के ना जो एल्डरली थे घर के, उन्होंने अपने यंग बच्चों को भेज दिया था घर से बाहर, बिकॉज दे वर लाइक कि कुछ भी होगा, वी वांट टू प्रोटेक्ट द यंग लिनिएज ऑफ द फैमिली. एंड दिन में आके फिर वो लोग बंकर्स बना रहे थे गांव में. बट हुसैनी वाला के अदर साइड जो पिछड़ी जगह है सर, काफ़ी बैकवर्ड जगह है, उस जगह में ये था कि लोगों ने पहले ही खुद से ही आना शुरू कर दिया था. क्या पता फिर से ब्रिज उड़ा दिया तो हम फंस जाएंगे. तो उनमें से एक गांव है सर कालू वाला, विच इज़ ऑल्सो वेरी फ्लड प्रोन. 300 लोगों का गांव है, पंचायत भी नहीं है, तो वहाँ के लोग भी सर निकल के आ गए थे. सो बिट्स एंड पार्ट्स में, even if people were scared, some people were scared, some people were fearful and anxious. The thing that I learned from this assignment is, out of all the assignments that I've covered, is Punjabis को किसी चीज से डर नहीं लगता है. They're careful, they're practical.
There's also a culture of border community.
Yes.
Right? Border people have a different, because through generations they've lived on the border. So people of the borders have a different mindset and a different upbringing. Now we've heard your stories. Now, Nisheet and Janki, you tell us your experiences because these are the players. These two are the umpires.
See, all I want to say is that this is no farce of trying to be self-effacing when I say that, we did bare little sitting in Delhi. I mean, from the safety of the office, or of our homes. I mean, these guys are all rock stars. They went above and beyond the call of duty. I mean, if I were to start with Bismee, I mean, how she had people opening up and giving her information, that was just wonderful to see. Christian, first of the blocks, every morning, the first message I'd get would be from Christian at 5:30 in the morning, 6 in the morning, pitching his ideas, filing his stories. Manisha, she was, as she said, she was in Rajkot and people were having doklas. But from a place like that, the nuggets and the codes that she got for the story, they were amazing. How when the earthquake hit in Bhuj, basically, Rajkot was the center from where all the crisis management happened. Mayank, and because he was doing his job so well and our security forces were doing their job so well, I mean, he was in a sensitive area, and I wouldn't name the area, where while he was looking for a story, our security forces basically checked with him as to why he was there in that particular area and he handled it very well and very calmly. Suraj, and I'd like to believe Sagrika when she says that he was also panicking, but when I spoke to him, it was rock solid calm. and I really appreciated that. Praveen, of course, is a workhorse. 24 hours, he was just on it. He was just constantly excited and just always just willing to pitch in with whatever was needed. Traveling, helping out with the logistics as well. That was just wonderful. Janki, of course, I mean, she was just, stellar. I mean, help across regions for all of our journalists who are traveling, guiding them, helping them with the inputs that were needed, with the videos that they should plan and they should do. Nutan, she was just lightning quick with her ideas. When we did the first call, I mean, she just gave some brilliant ideas and she got started right away. One of the first few people to file a good long story. And special mention to, by the way, to Manisha and Nutan, because they were in a state where there was no liquid courage at the end of the day to help them. And Sagrika, I mean, she was constantly filing stories, but she was also very liberal with the ideas and the information that she was sharing with us for her colleagues, for her fellow journalists. That, I mean, these are the
And
stories.
she was under fire.
She was under fire, and how she shared everything with basically people that, okay, this person could do this story. I'm not in a place or a position to do the story, but maybe this person can pursue that story. So she was very liberal with the help that she gave. Sajid, I mean, this wasn't his first rodeo, I suppose, in this particular significant story, because he went to Pahalgam way before anyone else could. I mean, in a very small group of people, and after a point, media was not allowed, but he was already there. And then again, in the second round, he was the first to hit the ground. The sort of videos that we got from him, I mean, lots and lots of people watched, lots of people gave us feedback, engaged with us, just because of the videos and the stories that Sajid did for us. Sharan, as you said, all the way from Bangalore, he was just immediately, he came right into Delhi. From here, he took the route and he went to Jammu. He was, constantly feeding us information. Some of the videos that we had, just for even if we were not putting them out because it was all sensitive information, for our own, double checking our own facts, those videos came in really handy, and we really appreciate that. The fact that he's done a defense correspondence course really came in handy for him and for us. So all I'd like to say is that, thank you so much, everyone. It was just wonderful working with all of you. I have not worked in a situation like this before because, of course, as we all discussed, this is a once-in-a-generation story. And I can only imagine for all of you, I am from a place in UP, Varanasi, where I've seen guns being shot. One bullet makes you realize the value and cost of life. And to be in a place and in a position where, things could just change in the matter of seconds, you're all very brave, and you're all at the same time very, very sorted in how you conducted yourselves.
Janki, the last word.
I think for a train to run smoothly, all its coaches as well as the engine needs to run smoothly, right? One of the coaches derails and it's gone.
Double engine.
Double engine at times. Now double engine. So I think everyone playing a part and playing their part as much as they can, as much as as well as they can, makes this team and makes the output ultimately what it was, as far as this coverage is concerned, and a lot of our other coverages in the past is concerned. And of course, few people are not here, but Snehesh and the diplomacy team, and Ananya, of course, was a great support here in the newsroom for us. So I think it ultimately it is about you win as a team, you lose as a team, and while we are not doing scores here, but it has been a fantastic experience. Of course, people who were on ground faced with multiple challenges delivered. And before we end, I think I would like to add 2 bits on the challenges as far as videos were concerned, because we saw a lot of rhetoric on television, as we always see, and we saw a lot of shouting games and literally boxing matches on few of the television sets. And for the key for us was to not get into that area and still deliver authentic ground reports, which each one of them who were on ground provided us in the newsroom. And then people who were here, Snehesh did all the analysis, that the depth to the coverage, which I think it all came together when we look back at those 1 week, or I would even take the liberty of going back right from the Pahalgam attack and the coverage thereafter. I think I can safely say that the train was moving smoothly.
That's fantastic. So congratulations to all of you. I know I've been a reporter. So as reporters, you can keep a straight face if you so wish or laugh. Everybody thinks it's over too soon, right? But a conflict is never over too soon. It should never have started. And so sooner it ends, the better, because we'll have many stories in our lives. But stories like this, we don't want these prolonging, because ultimately some human beings pay the price. So I'm glad that this is over. All of you have done a fantastic job. It was your trial by fire, and you can now say that I've been under fire, right? I was on my job under fire. So that's a good box to check on your CV. Thank you very much again, and I hope there isn't an opportunity like this again. But I'm sure there will be other big stories as you go ahead, and this will be very good training for you.